Hello everybody, this is General Yanis, and today in Death Guard Tactics I'm going to be talking about my battle when I was using Guard Terminus Est and facing the new and improved Tyranids, the Leviathan Hive fleet, and it was a 1500 point game, a bit more casual, semi-competitive it turned out at the end. Game I had with a friend at home, and very interesting to see the hordes of the Terminus Est face the very scary Tyranids. So with no further ado, let's get started. So today is the 16th of December, almost a week to Christmas, and I have a two-game local small tournament coming up on Sunday, where I will be not taking the Terminus Est, but something more with a lot of vehicles and Volkites and stuff like that. But in this video, I will be reviewing the 1500 points, giving you the post-battle analysis and the key learnings from the battle I had versus the Tyranids. And it was the first time I used I played the Terminus Est list. I've always been a bit concerned to play without my vehicles, without the Plague Scrollers or Blowdrones or something like that. And not very confident going into the battle with the very strong Hive Guard, the Leviathan Tyranids with plenty of Hive Guards that can shoot with no line of shooting. So I will go through the quick list overviews. Then I will be talking about the mission we played and the deployment, then the game results and synopsis of the battle, and then the key learnings for the strategy. Before I start, big thanks to all my patrons and everybody supporting and making the channel grow, giving also very good comments to all the videos. I'm trying to answer as many as possible. If you want to visit my patron page, please you can find the link here if you want to support my efforts. So let's take a look at the armies. So the Death Guard, the Terminus Est, it was 1500 points, so I was 1498 points, I believe, and I had 8 command points to go. I made a battalion. Of course, it's a Harbingers with a renown rule, so no vehicles. In the HQ, I took the Demon Prince with the wings and the sword, and I took the Rotten Constitution, Warlord trait, so he can ignore AP1 and up to AP2 weapons against him. And then I took the Suppurating Plate, giving him saves of 2+, so hopefully ignoring AP, toughness 7, and AP he would be a very scary and survivable character. And then I took from the Festering Discipline from the Terminus Est special psychic discipline, I took the Rotwind, and the Rotwind I had very high hopes because that makes a unit, it targets an enemy unit, and that unit suffers, will be attacking with -2 AP, so they will be losing a lot of AP, and that was my primary idea how to face the Hive Guard, because the Hive Guard would have a AP -2 weapon, and then it would be an AP 0 if the Demon Prince would cast Rotwind on them. So that's quite strong. And especially if something attacks him and it suffers the Rotwind and the Rotten Constitution, you can basically bypass up to 4 AP, and you would be saving on 2+ with Suppurating Plate. At least that was the plan. And then for Terminus Est, I think Typhus would be very thematically fitting to lead this unit. Of course, Typhus has to be your warlord if you have him in the Terminus Est. So of course he was my warlord, and then he gets the Shamble Rot and the Harbingers, the special Terminus Est extra warlord trait. I took the Miasma of Pestilence and Putrescent Vitality. I was thinking defensive spells and some spells to buff the lots of infantry we have here. I didn't bother taking so many mortal wound spells, so 165 points for Typhus. And then in the troops choices, I took my, as always, a token Plague Marine unit, 5 Plague Marines with one Blight Launcher. This is what I could afford here, 115 points. And then nearly all my Poxwalkers in my collection, so three units of 20 each, and the last one I had to cut one to have room for 5 points somewhere else. So see, almost 3 times 20 Poxwalkers, and then the main body of the army. In the elite slots, we have 5 Blightlord Terminators. One group I wanted to try the Spewer, and in that one I had the Blight Launcher, the Spewer, the Flail, and a Combi Melta. So 220 points upgraded weapons. Hopefully the Melta could help us because we don't have so much anti-vehicle shooting. here, and the spear I wanted to test if there was something Tyrannid wanted to charge. It could be interesting to make some good overwatching. And then the other one, the autocannon, probably better versus 1 wound enemies than the blight launcher, bit longer range. Also the flail here for close combat and 1 combi melta, 215 points. I took 3 Death Shroud. I upgraded the champion with the Reaper of Glorious Entropy for 1 command point. And then trying some new Virion, I wanted to bring Biologus Putrefier, so he can make our core infantry one-on-one unit fighting to give mortal wounds on 6s to wound, and combine with the stratagems where the Poxwalkers can do mortal wounds. That was the basic idea, to do mortal wounds in melee on top of the normally high melee damage of Death Guard. I took the Arch Contaminator Warlord trait and then the Fugari's Helm to give him a bit longer reach, but yeah, in hindsight, maybe I should have saved the command point here. And then I brought also the Talisman with no relics or any additional buffs here, but the Talisman, the Terminus Est is very CP hungry, and Talisman gives us extra command points, and that could be really crucial. In the fast attack, I had one room for a Chaos Pawn to hold some objective or do something. So hopefully the Demon Prince with the Rotwind as a method to take care of somehow hinder a bit the Hive Guards. Talisman for the CP hungry army. All the Poxwalkers I could take to swarm and flood the board, and the Biologus for more mortal wounds in melee. Of course, Typhus being the leader of this Terminus Est. The Tyranids, as I said, Leviathan Hive Fleet, 1496 points, starting with 9 command points. Also took a battalion. So here they had a Swarm Lord and 2 Brood Lords. The Brood Lord was the Warlord, and the Brood Lord has the strategic adaptation trait that I think is a Leviathan, and it allows them to make some redeploy. He's also a Swarm Leader. He has a Psychic Scream, so like an extra smite or so. The other Brood Lord has the Paroxysm that makes enemy fight last, so that's not very kind of them, of course. And he has the Synaptic Link, Master of Shadows. The Synaptic Links is something new introduced that different units in Tyranids can be upgraded, and they can give a certain ability to other Tyranids. So basically they have, it's like a Legion command upgrades for Space Marines or Thousand Suns or something like that. So they become upgraded and give some specific buffs to specific units. The Swarm Lord, very strong, a lot of wounds and strong in melee, of course, and also a Psyker. In the troops, we have 12 Gene Stealers, 3 with Acid Maw, rest are Rending Claws, and then we have 10 Hormagons for 60 points. Then we have 3 Reaper Swarms, so a cheap objective holder with quite a lot of wounds, like a Nurgling base somehow. And then the 3 Tyranid Warriors. This is an important build for the Hive Guards because they have the Synaptic Link, the Bioweapon Bond. So this costs 82 points. And the Bioweapon Bond is that you select another unit. So the Warriors can select the Hive Guard, so they get +1 to hit. So then they will be hitting on 2 pluses. Speaking about Hive Guards, there's one big unit of 6 Hive Guard with the Impaler Cannon, and they have enhanced resistance for 270 points. And the Impaler Cannon is a heavy 2 weapon with strength 8, AP -2, damage D3, and you can target units that are not visible to the bearer. And the opponent doesn't get any cover from these saves. So basically they can stay hidden, 36-inch range, they can shoot with 2+ to hit, they can get rerolls from the Brood Lord, and they can do a lot of nasty damage. Also, the Tyranids have stratagems so that they can shoot twice for 2 command points, so they could really bring devastation and be quite well protected behind the enemy lines, behind their own lines, maybe hidden in some ruins or behind line of sight, obscuring terrain, and they can wreak havoc to a lot of enemies. Thankfully, Death Guard, the damage, the D3 often becomes a damage 1. It could be also damage 2, killing a Marine outright, but it cannot kill one shot, cannot kill one of our Terminators outright, and our toughness 5 helps at least that the wound roll becomes a 3+ and not a 2+. So, but still a very strong unit in combination with the warriors. Then 2 lictors that can arrive and deep strike and do actions and things like that. 3 Tyrant Guard that can protect the Swarm Lord as a bodyguard. They also are quite good in melee with the Crushing Claws and Rending Claws. And then some Spore Mines to screen, and maybe, yeah, they don't move, they cannot do actions. They don't move so much and they cannot do actions, but they can basically screen, and if you come close to them, they explode and they give you some mortal wounds. So you basically want to shoot them away before they give mortal wounds to something expensive in your unit. And then finally, as always, I guess in a Tyranid you need the Carnifex, Destruction, and this Distraction Carnifex with 2 Devourers here. And everything in Leviathan gets a 6+ feel no pain basically. So that's nice durability. A lot of these units have high toughness. The Hive Guard, the Tyrant Guard, the Tyranid Warriors, everything has a high toughness, so not so as subject to the contagion from Death Guard. And the Hive Guard, of course, very strong shooting, no line of sight required, and it can be buffed a lot with the Synaptic Link abilities. So we rolled for the mission and we got the mission overrun, and this was not exactly what I've been hoping for. Overrun has a lot of objectives, 6 objectives on the map, and basically you have to keep 2 objectives to get 5 victory points, 3 you get 10 victory points, and then if you have more than an opponent you get 5 more, so you can get up to 15. But it requires to hold quite a lot of objectives in your backfield. With my army, I didn't have so much shooting, so my game plan before was just storm everything forward. The Poxwalkers crash in first, then the Blight Lords arrive, or the Demon Prince. Everything should come in. Hopefully, my ideal map would be on the other side deployment, and maybe just a couple of objectives in the middle. That would be a big fight there. But here, I needed to keep somehow these objectives and try to charge the Hive Guard and everything. So not particularly easy. But at least this is a good map for raise the banners, I thought, for the secondaries. So for the secondaries of this mission, I took to the last. So my Demon Prince, the 2 big Blight Lord squads, I was hoping at least 2 things would survive. And then Assassination, the opponent has three characters, and I would be getting 10 max victory points. And raise the banners, it's possible to raise 3 banners quickly, so it should be quite feasible to max this out. Here, my opponent took engage on all fronts with the Tyranids and thinks that he can deep strike, etc. Retrieve Octarius data. He has quite a lot of cheap infantry that can do some retrieve Octarius data, and he also took Pierce the Veil. A bit, maybe not the best choice here because it requires some of his Psykers to be close to my battlefield edge to do some actions. We had played a game before where I had Ultramarines, and the Hive Guards was just taking their toll, and at the end of that game the Psykers had time to do stuff like that. But let's see how it went with Death Guard. So we started with a new battle mat I have got for Christmas. I'm really happy with this battle mat that I put, and some homemade terrain, some terrain my friend brought, etc. I think we made quite an okay looking board. I selected to deep strike one unit of Death Shroud. Always good to have something deep striking, plugging holes, and keep the opponent guessing a little bit. The Tyranids put the 2 lictors on the deep strike, and then I was the attacker and the defender placed first. And my idea was that I wanted to make beforehand. I wanted to have 2 strike groups. I wanted to have the Demon Prince close to the Hive Guard that are hidden in this terrain here. Line of sight. We said that the windows was closed. So I wanted to be able to cast Rotwind, hopefully, on the Hive Guard. The bit more shooty Blight Lord Terminators, 2 Poxwalker squads, and Tallyman on this side. The Poxwalkers and Demon Prince hoping to come in and close down the Hive Guards if possible. Another strike group with Typhus, Biologus Putrifier and the melee and short shooting Blightlord Terminators, the Poxwalkers, 1 unit of Poxwalkers, and the spawn in the flank. And then I have to keep my Plague Marines back to hold the central objective. The problem was that I couldn't hold this objective without the Hive Guard being within 36 inches, but on this side I'm not in danger of the Hive Guards, and here it was my opponent's a lot of melee units, so here I was hoping for a big melee action here, and here I was hoping to cross the gap to go to the Hive Guards. As I said, in the Tyranids, the 2 lictors made deep strike. The Hive Guard is inside, hidden in the ruin. The Carnifex is behind here to protect them. The Broodlord is here, also ready to buff the Hive Guards. The Tyranid Warriors here. The Reaper Swarm holds the center, like my Plague Marines, and then on the other side we have the Swarm Lord, the Broodlord, the Gene Stealers, and the Hormagons. And then we rolled, and I won a very important roll to go first. And then Tyranids, they used their ability to redeploy, so they put the Gene Stealers in reserve. I was also worried that because they could redeploy 2 units, maybe they could bring, let's say, the Gene Stealers on this side, and it was difficult when deploying to try to guess where everything would go. But at the end, yeah, the Gene Stealers moved back, and then I got the important first turn. So in Death Card turn 1, of course, playing the Terminus Est, it's time to unleash the horde. So I played the 2 command point stratagem from Terminus Est, making my Poxwalkers basically move 4 inches plus 3 inches, or 7-inch move for the Poxwalkers, and I advanced them everywhere. I had the 3 groups advanced, and I hit 2 6s, so 13 inches for these Poxwalkers and 10 inches for these Poxwalkers. So basically we came to the middle. The Blight Lords, all the supportive characters, everything just moved ahead. I could maybe shoot a little bit and do something here, and what I did, the Plague Marines moved to be just inside this objective here. And then the Plague Marines raised this banner, Taliman raised this banner, and Biologus Putrifier raised this banner. I didn't want to raise the banner with Typhus. I didn't want to raise the banner with the Blight Lords because they could still shoot something. So basically, I could raise 3 flags and still have my shooting and my psychic phase. So that was also the plan, to split Taliman and Biologus, etc. Unfortunately, the very strong movement phase was followed by a very lackluster psychic phase. So I tried the Rotwind on the 8. It doesn't need a line of sight, so 18 inches you can cast it. But I needed a 7. I couldn't hit that. I command point rerolled and I lost it. So no Rotwind, because that would have been really crucial to get on the Hive Guards. Their AP had been 0. Basically, yeah, Poxwalkers, I didn't care if the Hive Guard shoot on my Poxwalkers, but when they shoot on my Blight Lords, saving on 2 pluses instead of 4 pluses could make a very good difference. Also for the Plague Marine, saving on 3 pluses instead of potentially 5 pluses. Typhus managed to put Miasma Pestilence on this group of Poxwalkers, but he failed to put Putrescent Vitality. It would be nice also to have Toughness 5 Poxwalkers closing down this lane for the dangerous Tyranids on the opposite side. There was not so much to shoot here, very little shooting, and nothing happened. Basically, the Reaper autocannon and some combi bolter fire here and there. Nothing severe. That's one, of course, not the strong point of this list. The shooting is a bit lackluster. So all in all, after turn 1, a very good board presence, nicely raised the banners in a good way, but the failed Rotwind was a problem. So Tyranids turn 1. On my left side, where I had basically Typhus and advanced the Poxwalkers with Miasma Pestilence, the Swarm Lord, the Brute Lord, and his Tyrant Guards, they all moved forward to take them out. In my right side, the Hive Guards hold still they get the buffs from the other units. The Warriors, I think, made the Retrieve Octarius data, and the Carnifex comes a bit forward be able to shoot some Poxwalkers and to protect also the Hive Guard. In the psychic phase, the Broodlord, he could target my Blightlord Terminators behind this line here with Paroxysm, and that was a very strong psychic power, because then my Blightlords until the next turn will be fighting last. So even if I could, if the opponent was taking out these Poxwalkers, I could charge in here with my Blightlords, but then they would be molested by these units before they could fight first. So Paroxysm went off, and that was a very strong psychic ability. A couple of smites take out a bit of Poxwalkers here, and then in the shooting, some Poxwalkers died on the other flanks by the Carnifex, and then the Hive Guards they wanted to shoot, but I had put Cloud of Lies on my Plague Marines. Thankfully, he couldn't target my backfield Plague Marines. If I had lost those, I would have lost a lot of primary points, and it would be difficult to come back with anything. I was quite spread thin in this large map on this direction. So, but it was costly, 2 command points, but I could keep, let's say, my coherency on the line here. And basically the Hive Guards were more or less forced to shoot at the Blight Lords on the other side, on the right wing, the ones that had Taliman and the Demon Prince close by. Their first shooting round of the Hive Guards scored 6 wounds, and I saved a lot of them. I only got 1 wound on a Blightlord Terminator, and that was a really good start. But then the Tyranids, they spent 2 command points, so the Hive Guards could shoot again. And this time they had better rolls. They scored 9 wounds, and then I hit this dice roll with 9 dice. I only saved 2 4+, and then the rest 4+ was terrible. Eventually 3 Blightlords died, thankfully, to Disgusting Resilience, and the opponent not rolling maximum damage for the, let's say, the D3 damage. I only lost 3, but it was really nasty. The second running was nasty, and suddenly the backup Blightlord Terminators on that flank were quite taking very very heavy casualties. Then on the other side here, Poxwalkers were charged by the big heavy characters and the heavy Tyranids here. The Tyrant Guard killed a couple more Poxwalkers, more than the Smite, and I think I only had 14 Poxwalkers left in that group from the 20 originally. So here I decided to make the interruption for 2 command points. Then I used 2 command points more for Mutant Strain, and then the Harbinger's stratagem for 1 command point to reroll all hit rolls. And then I had 10. I think I had 10 Poxwalkers attacking the Tyrant Guards and 4 attacking the Broodlord, piling in 6 inches. So that helps to get more within engagement range. I killed 2 of the Tyrant Guards, mostly due to the mortal wounds, and 1 was left with 1 wound only. And the Broodlord also suffered quite a lot of mortal wounds. They saved a few with a 6+ feel no pain. Otherwise, I think he would have killed. But he had 2 wounds left. But at this time, this was really costly. The Cloud of Lies and the interruptions and everything here, and re-rolling for my psychic, etc. So I was basically almost out of command points at this time already in turn 1. Then all of these units fight, etc. And I have only 2 Poxwalkers left on this side, but they have made a very significant impact, thinning out the guards that are protecting the Stormlord and taking the Broodlord very low in wounds. So Death Guard turn 2 was a very brutal one. Basically the lines smashed each other here. I start by 10 victory points for the primary, and Taliman gave me the extra command points. I could use 1 command point to bring back some dead Poxwalkers that the Carnifex had killed with the shooting, so I could advance the line forward, and then with unleashing the horde I could come very close, so I can be close to the objective and I can charge the Hive Guard inside the ruin, and the Demon Prince flies forward also to charge the Carnifex, hopefully killing it and tying into the Hive Guards. This Poxwalker unit on the other side moves in to go close to the Broodlord or the to be able to charge the Hive Guard. And then all the Terminators, the two surviving Poxwalkers move back, and all my Terminators, Typhus, Biologus, move forward as much as possible to be able to shoot and then charge this exposed group now. And then I decided also to drop in my Death Shroud 9-inch from this group. Hopefully they could make a charge. I was worried that the Blight Lords, of course, they could make the charge. They didn't have far, but they had fight last, so they could have taken serious casualties. If the Death Shroud make it first, they could kill a lot of these units here. I could have dropped my Death Shroud over on this side, but then if they missed their charge, maybe I was worried that they would come out of the game somehow. And then the Demon Prince tries Rotwind again and fails again, and I couldn't, basically I was out of command points here after using Unleashing the Horde and getting the Poxwalkers back here, so I couldn't command point reroll. I lost that one again, and Typhus made a smite here, and then in the shooting, not very strong. The Plague Marines, the Death Shroud and the Blight Lords, they shoot everything. Finally, we managed to kill the last guard and bring I think some wound to the Swarm Lord. The Death Shroud failed their charge 9-inch, and I couldn't reroll. I didn't have command points. The Blight Lords managed to charge the Swarm Lord. The Typhus charged and killed the Brute Lord. So the Brute Lord was here, and the Blight Lords made it in. And then the Biologus Putrefier had given the 6 to wound. 6 to wound gives mortal wound ability on the Blight Lords. And then on the other side, the Demon Prince managed to do the charge on the Carnifex, and then the Poxwalkers managed to do the charge on the Hive Guards, and also managed to charge in and close in the Brood Lord. The 6-inch, 3-inch plus 3-inch pile-in after unleashing the Horde is really strong, getting the big lump of Poxwalkers into where it can make damage and surrounding the enemy. The Poxwalkers managed to kill one Hive Guard, but without mortal wounds. It goes very slowly. If I had strats to do mortal wounds, I could have killed 2-3 Hive Guards, I believe. A lot of the Tyranids were toughness 5 or higher, so even brought down to toughness 4, the Poxwalkers still are only wounding on 5s. The Typhus got 3 wounds but killed the Brood Lord. The Brood Lord, he can fight after he's killed with some command points, and then the Swarm Lord killed one of the Blight Lords, and then the Blight Lords brought the Swarm Lord down, only 2-3 wounds left. So in Tyranids turn 2, they score 5 points on the primary, and they are in a dire position on this side, and the cluster here is a bit, yeah, I lost of course some Poxwalkers when they fought back, but still a lot of Poxwalkers to keep everything tied down on this side. But now the Gene Stealers that were in strategic reserves made their appearance. The Swarm Lord fell back to the middle to be protected, and he can move once, and then in the shooting phase he can use an ability to move again. The Hormagons did the Retrieve Octarius Data on this side, and then the Gene Stealers arrived on their back end. If they arrive on their edge, they can be within closer than 9 inches because they come into their battlefield edge. So they had a quite easy charge on my Demon Prince. So there was not so much shooting in this turn. The Hive Guard were locked in, and they didn't fall back. So the Gene Stealers charged my Demon Prince, and the Warriors charged the Poxwalkers here. And the Demon Prince can ignore AP2, but many of the Gene Stealers, they have the Acid Maw, so they make 12 attacks. I think they do 4 attacks each. There are 12, and 3 have the Acid Maw that has an AP3, so forcing him to take the 5+ demonic save. And on 6s to wound, the others get AP4 to their weapons, again forcing the Demon Prince to save on 5+s. They used also a stratagem for exploding 6s, so every 6 to hit gives 2 extra hits instead of 1 extra hit, for a total of a whooping 48 attacks. but the Demon Prince survived this onslaught, having 2 wounds left, and then I could choose to fight here and kill the Carnifex, but I couldn't kill so many Gene Stealers. The Poxwalkers survived versus the Brute Lord and the Tyranids, but they start to be thinning out on this side, and I didn't have any command points to be able to do mortal wounds, but they scored a couple of wounds on the Brute Lord, bringing him down to not so many wounds left. So Death Card turn 2, and where after that we call the game. I started by I'm controlling this objective thanks to my Poxwalkers. So I'm scoring 15 victory points of primary. Also, my banners are not threatened. So basically, everything, my Terminators, so they advanced forward here to try to contest these objectives here and to threaten the Swarm Lord, but they can't go so far, 5 inches, and the Death Shroud are a bit further back. So everything is there's a strong Death Guard presence on this side with Typhus, Biologus, and the Terminators, but we are very slow to come, and we can't advance and charge, for example. So finally, the Demon Prince managed to put Rotwind, and he selects the Gene Stealers, so he will be able to save everything on the 2+ with a separating plate, hopefully to survive. And then some shooting brings the Swarm Lord down to only 1 wound after some shooting and Typhus Smite. There were no charges on this turn. And then the Gene Stealers are selected to fight first, and then basically they scored 6 wounds on the Demon Prince, but I rolled a lot of ones, and the Demon Prince died. Finally succeeded with Rotwind, but too little, too late for him. The Poxwalkers finally killed the Brood Lord, so he's the Warlord, so gives me 4 victory points for Assassinate, and with basically now Tyranids up for the 3rd turn. We called the game because we were running out of time. At this point in time, Death Guard was clearly ahead on points with good position and better secondary points, but it would have been a lot of game left. Probably still the advantage for Death Guard was very, very high on points, but the position here is by no means very strong for Death Guard, at least on this side of the board. So the scoring and how the game could have continued, where we called the game, I was ahead 58 to 24 points. Basically, the Tyranids had struggled to do any engage on all fronts and pierce the veil. They had done 2 retrieve Octarius data, and I was ahead on primaries 25 to the 10 points, and I had still my 2 to the last units left. I had 2 times scored the full 3 points for raise the banners with my banners on these objectives. In assassination, I've killed the Warlord and a character for 7 points already. So the situation at this point is that on this side of the table, the Tyranids are in a big advantage. I only have 2 Blight Lords and the Talisman here, and these Gene Stealers and everything here, Hive Guards and Tyranid Warriors, they can wipe out my last Poxwalkers taking back this objective and probably be able to threaten this side. The Lictors will be deep striking, so they could also come on both sides for engage on all fronts, also threaten to take down the banners, or retrieve Octarius data. And then from turn 4, the Hive Guard would be cleared to shoot again, and then maybe they could take out this unit or Plague Marines or something like that. So they would have at least gotten 2 more turns of shooting. And then on this side, I have the clear advantage. I could try to contest this objective and maybe raise a banner. I could come here. I would probably have killed the Swarm Lord. So the question is how much I could have done on this side. Then if the Gene Stealers would go here or they will come to me. So this is my. I expect that I would be able to max the raise the banners in any case. I would be able to kill the last wound of the Swarm Lord for 10 points on the Assassinate, and then to the last, probably this Blight Lords would be killed, but I guess this unit would have survived. So all in all, I think it would have ended with a Death Guard victory, but I think the gap would have been closed a bit more with the Tyranids and Gene Stealers counterattack. So key learnings from using Terminus Est the first time. The fast Poxwalkers are really amazing. 7-inch move, advancing, and I was lucky with my advance rolls. Just moving and piling in 6 inches is crazy good for the Poxwalkers. And they can be really lethal in melee with the stratagems, and that requires you to have if you have the command points. They did so much against very tough opposition, and they survived so long and frustrated the opponent, tying down his important assets. I knew beforehand that Terminus Est was really CP hungry, that it really is burning command points like very fast, but I hadn't expected that it would burn so fast. So in hindsight, I should have saved on the Fugaris helm. Didn't really do so much. The Reaper of Glorious Entropy didn't do so much, so I should have saved at least 2 command points. Taliman gave me extra command points every turn, but I ran so quickly out of command points. I could not afford. I could have basically, if I had 3 command points, I could have brought this Poxwalker back on one side and then fill the gaps or something like that. But 3 command points I couldn't master after my first turn. Taliman, a definite must for Terminus Est, just for the command points. It's really brutal how many command points you need. Shooting is an issue. It was not a game where you can just sit back and the Plague Scrollers take care of the castles or something like that. You need to come forward. There is some shooting, but all in all, I think I killed some spores, put a couple of wounds on some Hormagons and some Necron warriors. I didn't kill anything basically with shooting, only very little things. Horde armies take long time to play. Engaging in melee, 40 shots here, 60s to hit, rerolls. It takes really a lot of time, and really moving all these models around takes time. So if it's your first time playing, it's not so easy. Let's say it's not so easy, just the time it takes to measure everything and move everything. The Shamble Rod Warlord trait, the Harbingers of Death, the special Terminus Est trait, are quite meh. I mean, Typhus didn't get the chance to use them in this game, basically, and I think I would have needed 2,000 points on this size of map to have enough material to be able to push the advantage. Once the Poxwalkers were engaged, I needed a second wave of Terminators to come in and do stuff, but the second wave was just killed by the Hive Guard and was not so much behind here. And the Terminators are not as fast as the Poxwalkers can be with Unleash the Horde. But again, I think in another deployment with less objectives to hold, maybe it would have worked better. The key learnings versus the Tyranids with their Hive Guards and the Leviathan Hive Fleet, I think it shows another army that is very durable. The Universal 6-class Feel No Pain is really helping them for some mortal wounds and also high toughness for many of their unit and multi-wound models. It manages quite well being within Death Card Contagion, and was saving to kill a Tyranid warrior with 3 wounds. Takes quite a lot with toughness 5. The Hive Guards really a strong point of the Tyranids now. Very strong, hitting on 2 pluses with a synaptic link, rerolling, be able to attack twice, can kill a lot of units. And at Death Card we are quite well protected with our toughness 5 and -1 to incoming damage. But still, as you could see, they could take out, if they could have been shooting in 5 turns, they could have basically killed all my Terminators. Plague Marines also much more vulnerable than the Blight Lords. The Rotwind, in theory, a very good debuff. If it had gone off, then I would have had my Terminators saving on 2 pluses instead. That would have been great, and my Plague Marines on 3 pluses, and then they are basically not so threatening. The Gene Stealers, very dangerous in melee, and then very nice trait for the Tyranids, a very nice strategy to redeploy them where they see if they get first or second turn, and they really swung the game on that side of the board. The synaptic abilities they have gotten are nice to give buffs and upgrades, etc. The -1 to psychic helps avoid being rot-winded, for example. And all in all, I think it was a nice match. The Tyranids and the Death Guard, quite durable, more in melee than shooting, and it was really an interesting fight. And of course, I was missing my Plague Scrollers to be able to also shoot some out of line of sight on the Hive Guard. So key learnings regarding the game and the strategy. The mission, the overrun, was quite a difficult map for 1500 points because it forced me to thin out a bit my units. My overall strategy with 2 battle groups worked as intended, more or less. The Demon Prince was a bit unlucky, and I missed having the Warp Insect Hive relic that you can give him with Mortar and Salmil, because his attack with the sword are so crazy good that I rolled, let's say, once to hit, I can't reroll, or once to wound, I can't reroll. With the Warp Insect Hive, you reroll everything and you make those Hellforged Sword strikes work, and I would have killed the Carnifex in that respect. The Arch-Contaminator helped me quite well. Biologus additional mortal wounds. I couldn't utilize the grenades. He has some strong grenades because I needed the Plague Marines or something to hold this objective back. The Death Shroud deep striking always is a bit tricky, and the Death Shroud didn't make any impact in this game. If they had made their charge, it would have been, of course, a very big effect. Maybe I should have brought them in another side. Yeah, didn't do so much this time. The Raise the Banners, very good, maxed very easily in this map. And getting the first turn was really important. I think getting second could also have been working if the opponent had moved forward, but they didn't have any. They didn't need to move forward with the Hive Guards, but maybe I could have charged them first, maybe instead of interrupting. But then I would have suffered more losses, maybe for my Terminators. I needed the Rotwind to go off. That would have been really strong. I didn't succeed with that. Typhus abilities didn't come so much into play in this game, and the Poxwalkers really were the stars of this game. Survived much longer than I thought, did a lot of damage, and if I just had some more command points to make mortal wounds, they would have done even more. So, summary and final thoughts. It was a really nice and well-fought game, and pity we didn't have the time to conclude it. I think there was still a lot of match in the game. I think the secondaries I would have won. The primaries also I was ahead. I don't think I would have lost the game, but I think it would have been very close, and it would have been some very interesting things happening in the last couple of turns. So it was nice to see 2 quite evenly matched armies clashing together, and it was nice that the game wasn't like finished in 1-2 turns with one army just trumping over the other. And finally, thanks for the good game, Morten, and looking forward to face the Hive Guard again, maybe with some other units, Plague Scroller. This concludes the video. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if you have faced the new Tyranids and the new Hive Guard and your experience. Also, let me know your experience on Terminus Est, or what you think about my strategy, if you think I should have done something differently. If you like this video, please press like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to further support my efforts, visit my Patreon page. And with these words, General Yanis is signing out. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye.